Amid growing public interest in ancient civilizations and mythical beings, a new theory has emerged, suggesting that the Nephilim figures from ancient Near Eastern mythology were not merely mythical entities, but served as a bridge between actual civilizations that once existed on both ancient Earth and Mars. This hypothesis proposes that the Nephilim share a common origin with the Anunnaki, the deities of Sumerian mythology, and that they were beings who established civilizations, not only on Earth, but also on Mars. According to the Old Testament, the Nephilim were born from the union of fallen angels and human women, and were described as giants possessing powers far greater than those of humans. These beings are said to have contributed to the corruption and downfall of Earth, and in some accounts, played a central role in pre-flood civilizations. Similarly, the Anunnaki of Sumerian mythology are described as those who came from the heavens, and are believed to have played a major role in the creation of humankind and the shaping of civilization. Some Western mythologists have speculated that the Nephilim and Anunnaki might be the same beings. More recently, interpretations have suggested that the Nephilim were not just active on Earth, but were also a ruling force or civilization that once existed on Mars. The hypothesis that the ancient Nephilim and the Anunnaki were one and the same group goes beyond religious or mythological interpretation, and may serve as a key to exploring the origins of a civilization that once connected Earth and Mars. Adding to the intrigue, a scientist from Harvard University recently made headlines with a shocking claim that an ancient civilization on Mars was destroyed by a nuclear attack carried out by an extraterrestrial race. It might sound like the plot of a science fiction novel, but Harvard scientist Dr. John Brandenburg believes this catastrophic event really happened. According to his bizarre theory, Dr. Brandenburg says ancient Martians, known as Sidonians and Utopians, were massacred in the attack, and evidence of the genocide can still be seen. Back in 2011, the scientists first postulated that the red color on Mars could have been due to a naturally occurring thermonuclear explosion, claiming chemical elements in the red planet's surface match those around nuclear test sites on Earth. Mainstream scientists have argued there is no credible physical evidence, such as a crater or fallout signatures, which points to an artificial or sudden nuclear explosion, and have highlighted that the paper was published in a relatively low-level scientific journal. But now the theory is gaining fresh attention. On the Danny Jones podcast, which has over 1 million subscribers, guest Jason Reza Georgiani, a philosophy PhD and science fiction writer, reshared Dr. Brandenburg's study, calling it alarming evidence that life once existed on Mars. Every planet has a certain amount of isotopes of different materials on it, and apparently the isotopic ratio of xenon 1:29 is consistent across the entire solar system, except for on Mars, he said. Dr. Brandenburg's research centers around the high concentration of xenon 129 in the Martian atmosphere and uranium and thorium on the surface. Xenon 129 is a stable, non-radioactive gas. That is one of the natural forms of the element xenon, a colorless, odorless, and tasteless gas found in trace amounts in the Earth's atmosphere. While found naturally, xenon 129 is also released during nuclear fusion. NASA has detected higher than expected levels of the isotopes, xenon 126 on Mars Cydonia region. The region in the planet's northern hemisphere is famous for apparent man-made megalithic structures, according to Georgiani, which conspiracy theorists believe includes one that looks like a face and others as giant pyramids. NASA scientists have stated it's an optical illusion caused by shadows and surface morphology, and the space agency said the chemical elements could have been released into the atmosphere by impacts on the surface and by gas escaping from the rocky material, which is the soil and broken rocks of the surface. But Dr. Brandenburg believes they are the remnants of nuclear explosions on the surface. When a thermonuclear bomb is detonated, it leaves a trace of xenon 129 in that area, which is not the normal, Georgiani told Jones. Adding Dr. Brandenburg's findings were alarming evidence of life on Mars. And according to Dr. Brandenburg, it's a very distinct signature. It's unmistakable, and it's specifically associated with thermonuclear weapons detonation. The not the normal means higher than expected levels were found. Dr. Brandenburg also argued that Mars once had an Earth-like climate, home to animal and plant life, and any intelligent life would have been about as advanced as the ancient Egyptians on Earth. The philosopher added that Dr. Brandenburg's findings aligned with a CIA report that detailed how an ancient civilization once lived on Mars, but were dying because the planet had been corrupted. But the government agency has never confirmed there was a civilization on Mars. When you put the CIA's data next to Brandenburg's thesis, this nuclear event took place maybe 100 million years ago, Reza Yoryani said. Joe McMoneagle was tasked with remote viewing Mars in 1984, and this was a CIA operation run at the Monroe Institute. So he was working on contract for the CIA, and this was done at the Monroe Institute. The classified project was conducted at Fort Meade in Maryland, recruiting men and women who claimed to have extrasensory perception ESP to help uncover military and domestic intelligence secrets. Leading up to its closure was Mars Exploration, May 22, 1984, a document declassified in 2017 that has recently resurfaced online. McMoneagle was only given the coordinates as the target and used his mind to see what was there. When McMoneagle was doing this remote viewing session, he described being in the midst of the ruins of a megalithic city with gigantic pyramids, said Reza Yoryani. He said they seemed like they were maybe 3 times the size of the Great Pyramid in Giza. McMoneagle recently shared the experience last month on the American Alchemy podcast, saying, "I started getting an image of human beings that were trapped in a place where the atmosphere was turning bad. It was obvious these people were dying for some reason, but they were humans. They were just twice our size." McMoneagle obtained negatives of the Martian landscape, showing a pyramid-shaped structure on the edge of a giant impact crater, where he had seen it in the CIA experiment. He also found images of what he claimed was a human bone, lying on the Martian landscape. If traces of these civilizations, once dismissed as mythical beings or groups, were to be discovered on both Mars and various locations on Earth, it is expected that the current paradigm of human history would be completely overturned. Were the Nephilim mere myths, or were they ancient, intelligent beings that truly existed? And if they did exist, where are they now?